I'm Dave Webb. I'm here today with Raffi Tchakmakjian, who's the Vice President of Product Management for Trellia Networks. Raffi is going to demo for us Trellia's mobile policy management solution.
Thanks, Dave. Glad to be here. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to demonstrate how our mobile policy management solution allows an enterprise to both secure and control costs in a mobile environment. What we have here is specifically an iOS device, an iPad, which we're seeing a tremendous growth of in the enterprise sector. And a lot of our enterprise customers basically asking themselves, how do I secure these devices? How do I make sure they're enterprise ready? How do I make sure our data, our costs are governed according to our policies? So what we're going to do from a demo perspective is through our MPM solution, through our portal, I'm going to show you how I can manage Dave's device. I'm going to ask him to start using the device as if he's a regular user. And while he's using the device, I'm going to put some policies on top of that. So for example, while he's using YouTube, I'm going to take away his access of YouTube. And then we're going to go in and check, for example, does he have a password on the device? If he doesn't have a password, should we put one on there? And I'm going to enforce a password on the actual system as well. So Dave basically just started a demo of the YouTube video right now. What I'm doing through our portal right here is going through our profile system, where we're going to put a policy to remove YouTube usage for Dave and the group of users he belongs to. This is typical sometimes of corporations who don't want their users to be using social apps or any type of entertainment or gaming apps during work hours. So you can automate it for that. So I'm basically installing that policy now. And I'm going to publish that over to the device. And what we'll see here on the device is, so the video is playing. And as soon as the policy gets applied, there you go, the video just disappeared. And that disappearance is basically because of the policy we just enforced on it. And Dave, if you try to open YouTube now, is there an icon there?
There's not even an icon.
Perfect. So that's how, for example, through our system, you can take away access to certain applications, to games, etc. So it's all done remotely in real time. Another policy that we're going to check out right here is I'm going to go into the device. I can see a full inventory of what's on the device, all the applications on the device, the policies that are configured. So I'm going to go into the details for Dave's device. Here I'll see that as part of the configuration on it, there's no password policy. So for example, if Dave takes this device, goes to a Starbucks or goes to a cafe, is working there, what's going to happen is if he forgets it there, it's basically a device now that anyone can take and start using it. Whatever data you had on it, they can have access to it as well. So for that perspective, there's a couple of things I can do. One, I can enforce a password on the device. So that's really important from a corporate perspective. And then second, if it does get lost in a situation like that, and Dave knows about it and basically calls me up and says, Raffi, I left my device at Starbucks. I'm 10 minutes away. I'm going to go and get it. I know I left it open. Can you please lock the device remotely? Those are things as well that you can do through the system. So right now, Dave does not have a password. Again, through the same portal. This is a cloud-based portal, no infrastructure to install. We actually did the whole setup of this morning very quickly. So through this portal again, I'm going to come in here, press on the Manage button, and push out a policy to enforce a password. So as I push that out, so it just said password requirement, you must enter a password. So if you press on Continue, and then basically, let's just use a very weak password for demo purposes, 1, 2, 3, or yeah, perfect. So we chose the 9876. Save. So now this device is password protected. The other kinds of stuff you can do through our system, going back to the actual device management panel here, I'm going to go and do a real-time lock of the device. So for example, if Dave forgot it in the cafe, or he's using it right now, but he basically needs a lock on the device, so I can remotely do one, and there we go. So just lock the device, and it asks for your password. 767. There we go.
Perfect.
So those are some of the typical configurations, some of the typical policies that enterprise customers apply to these systems. For the iOS type of systems, Android type of systems, these aren't native with the devices. So that's what enterprises struggle the most with at the beginning, which is I'm used to a BlackBerry world. I'm used to a Bez that manages the BlackBerries. Now I've got all these really awesome devices coming into my environment. How do I manage them in the same fashion? So this is a tool, our Trellia NPM, that does mobile device management and cost control and allows you to, from a cloud-based infrastructure, manage all of these devices in the same fashion you do for your other types of enterprise
Now,
devices.
a lot of enterprises, it's the end user bringing the device into the enterprise,
Correct.
as opposed to the enterprise giving the end user the device. And you've got your iOS devices, your BlackBerries, and increasingly you've got Android. So, how do you manage a heterogeneous environment like that?
Absolutely. So that's a very typical struggle that IT has today. You really don't want to have a management system that's only capable of managing one type of device, because then you'll need to deploy 3 or 4 management systems. So the key there is when you're going to adopt a management system, make sure to adopt one that manages all these variant of devices, and also one that caters to both a corporate-owned infrastructure versus I allow my users or some of my users to bring their own devices in. Because from a policy perspective, there's nuances there that are very important. If I provide a device to you as a corporation and you use it, I have full rights on it. I can do a device wipe on it if I choose to, etc. But if you bring your own device, those kinds of, those rules change, right? It's not necessary that the consumer will want the IT folks or the organization to be able to do a device wipe, because there's some consumer data on it that belongs to you as well. So you need a system that's capable of incorporating those types of agreements that you come to grips with, which are between the employer and the employee.